Hey guys, opened up my brand new Hults Bruks, and it's a bit of a disappointment, I'm sorry to say. So I wanted to share that. Full disclaimer, we have not used this axe yet. So this is just kind of a tabletop of fit and finish and some of my other complaints. I'm going to use it and do a full tabletop, or not, I'm going to do a full demonstration and all that, probably over the weekend. But I just wanted to do this and talk a little bit about it and why it's so disappointing. One of the things with this channel is I always kind of shied away from the production axes. I always did the videos on the vintage axes and putting them together, and people seem to really like those and enjoy them, but a lot of people kind of said, hey, I want to see different axes because I can't get a hold of the vintage ones, or I don't have a shop to clean them up or whatever. So I started buying some. I bought that Marvel's Camp axe that Wrangler Star recommended so much, and I was kind of a little underwhelmed with that. I bought one of the Condor double bits. I was a little underwhelmed with that. I bought some hardware store Collins and things like that. And of course, those are, they're okay, but they're nothing great. Nothing great at all. And I bought that Hulko. I really like the Hulko still. I still think that Hulko is one of the best production axes I bought. But here we are. So all these times people are saying to me, buy a Swedish axe, and buy whatever, and I look online, and I'm sorry, but like the Grand Fours and the Weatherlings, and this is a whole other video that's going to be coming, I just can't justify spending the money on them, and I'll do a video on that about my opinions on them, and I just don't think they're a good value. I don't think they're worth the money. I think they're fool's gold, to be honest. I know it's going to piss people off, and I'm sorry, but it's just my opinion. It's nothing more than an opinion. So I wanted to give a Swedish axe a try. I wanted to see, is this steel really worth it? Is the fit and finish really as good as everyone says? So I found this Hults Bruks, and it was $80, which is quite an investment, guys. That's a lot of money for a small axe. And I bought it and got it home, and I thought it was a perfect shape and size. It's a 20-inch handle, a little, 1 3/4 pound head. Just thought this thing was perfect little pack axe. I could use it around the homestead, bring it, backpacking and things like that. And I get it, and it's just like, man, how disappointing. Well, first of all, we're going to start. Number one, the biggest disappointment of all is, and hopefully this will show up on camera, you can see here, somebody glued the head. So obviously this thing was wiggling. Right there at the end of my finger, you see a big gob of glue. Obviously somebody glued the head. It must have been wiggling or something. So it seems like somebody ran almost like a bead of glue around the wood here. You can see it reflecting a little bit there. But there's a couple gobs of glue in there. I thought, are you kidding me? You don't put glue to fix a wobbly head. You got to seat it better. But as you can see, this thing's barely seated on here. Look how much space is left before you get to the shoulder. Typically, you always want to seat an axe down as far as you can down onto the shoulder, because here, there's nothing stopping this axe from sliding down further, which is ridiculous. That's like axe hanging 101. So as this thing uses and gets used, if this wood shrinks even just a little bit, this is just going to start sliding down and wiggle and loosen up. These things are really supposed to be right down onto the shoulder as far as you can get them. There's no taper in this area here at all. So there's nothing to keep that from wiggling loose, which I'm assuming that's why some jackwagon put glue on the end of it, because it was probably wiggly as hell, and they just put a little glue to remedy it. So I'm assuming 2 strokes into this thing, it's probably going to break loose. Disappointment number 2. Look how much air is in that hang. There is literally, look at that gap. Look at that. It is literally almost entirely around. There is only friction, basically, on the 2 sides. Here and here. Maybe 10% of the axe is in contact with the handle. That is completely unacceptable. The most important part of the hang is the bottom. You're supposed to have it all the way down and have a full seal along the handle. We don't have that. This is completely, look at that. I could stick a pencil in there, a pencil tip in there. So, it's, actually I got a nail. Check this out. Just happen to have a nail. Look at that. You can literally get a nail head in there. There's so much space in there. Here. Same thing. You can literally stick the nail in there. There's so much space around there. That is completely unacceptable. That will not hold. That is going to break loose. That is a sign of someone, and there's no sign this was hydraulically pressed, so it looks like it was done by hand. Somebody just slapped this thing on until it stopped and wedged it. Unbelievable. I mean, that to me is just like that. Like a child could literally do a better job hanging an axe. That is not right. That is not $80 of a hang. I mean, look at that. Look at how much air, and the only place where it's gripping is on the sides. That's gonna come loose. It's gonna come loose. I know it, and I can't wait for this weekend to get out and film it because I want to film literally how many swings it takes for this thing to knock loose, which is pretty much probably as soon as that glue goes on the end, that's just gonna knock loose and start wiggling. Ridiculous. And then an $80 axe, guys. I mean, it's to the point. It's like I almost feel like sending it back. But it's like, how much am I going to invest in shipping an axe back? Another $10, $12, $15 invested to get the axe right? At that point, it's like, it's just like in my head, I'm like, I should just fix it myself because, you know what? At least I know I can hang an axe correctly. I don't see any evidence that these guys can. They grind completely amateurish. You can see it's completely uneven. It kind of cuts off in the end there. This side, and I doubt we'll be able to see it, is almost like a hollow grind. It's kind of concaved in a little bit because it's cut so deeply. This side is very rounded, very convex. It's completely uneven. Same thing here. You can see it's nowhere near a straight line. Well, I know it's not a straight line, but it's supposed to be rounded. But like you look, you can see that it was obviously done by hand, but which I don't mind if this doesn't need to be perfect. That's just, But the point is this end, this side, and this side are a completely different profile, which that will help the axe roll or twist or whatever. So it's a nice thin bit. I really liked it. It's a nice thin bit, and it is centered on the head correctly, which is nice. The edge has a little bit of a twist to it, which happens a lot with these, because these are typically done in an open die forge. So you can see the bottom kind of comes a little bit, the toe of the axe comes a little bit my way, not much. That's kind of to be expected with these kind of axes, to be honest. So I don't think that's a flaw. That's just part of the way they forge them. They're forged, in an open die forge. The handle's actually really good. The handle grain is excellent. I mean, look at that. Very nice piece of hickory handle. And that's part of the reason why I don't want to send it back. Is because I'm worried if I send it back, they're going to send me a shitty handle. And then I have to deal with a handle that's not as good. These things drive me nuts, guys. I think, honestly, I'm just going to take out the wedge, draw out the wedge, and reseat this myself and do it properly. Which, hey, that's fine with a $20 axe. I do not expect that over an $80 axe. And even here you look, like there's a huge dent in it where it obviously got smacked up against another axe or whatever. Huge dent in it. Does it affect it? No, but with that kind of thing, it's just those things that obviously they didn't take very good care. You can see there's another dent there back by the pole. And these things were obviously just thrown into big bins and just ignored. And done and handled very unprofessionally for an $80 axe. It's an $80 axe, guys. I mean, this is not, some fancy, amazing steel. This is normal, probably $10.55. That is not expensive. And to sit there and charge $80 for this when it's not even hung right, number one. The grind is all wrong, number two, and it's not even that sharp, guys. It can't even cut paper. And, I don't expect my axes to be super, super sharp, but Hults Bruks has a reputation for sending out high-quality axes. And my thing is, this is what I would get out of a hardware store. This is hardware store quality. Yeah, the head may be good steel, but what good is, a good steel when the edge isn't even done right, and then the handle isn't seated right. So it puts me in that position. Do I want to spend $15 more and possibly get an axe that I'm not happy with, or do I want to spend the time and make this right? And for me, you know, like, I know you're like, what, you're bitching, just send it back, you know, and I get it, you know, it's very disappointing to get an axe with such a reputation and have there be so many problems with it. And I think that hang is absolutely irresponsible of them. To send something out their door like this is ridiculous. Hults Bruks should be ashamed of themselves for letting this go out the door. I mean, look at that. Look at how much air. I mean, it's literally no contact. I mean, this thing could literally come loose on the first swing. Oh, boy. Boy, oh, boy. So I do have a couple more axes, guys, coming, and another one of them is another Swedish axe. It's on its way. Hopefully we have a little better luck with that. So there it is. That's the tabletop in my complaint so far. We haven't gone out to use it yet. I'm going to go, but I got a feeling as soon as this thing hits a tree, it's probably going to knock loose. And I'm assuming the only thing holding it right now is that GABA glue. You know, the hang job, yeah, it's mushroomed out nicely, but it won't take much once that handle's loose to squish that down and make it so it won't work. But yeah, real shame, guys. Real shame. Real shame that such a nice company and such an old company with such a good reputation does something like that. That actually seated right down to here. Right down to the edge of that so that there's no way it can slip, no way it can move. That edge should be done definitely better than that. I don't expect perfection. I know they're hand done. You know, I don't expect perfection, but I do expect them to be even, not one, you know, two completely different. It looks like two different people ground to two different sides. So, I don't know. I like the handle though. I like the handle. That grain is really nice. Really nice. Look how tight a grain that is. That grain orientation is perfect. What a shame. And that's it, you know. It's always such a pain. You know, when you're an axe snob, you're always going to run into problems like this, and you're never going to be happy with production axes. I guess in the end, I'm just going to have to get back to doing the vintage stuff. Hey, maybe I'll be surprised. I got 2 more axes coming tomorrow. Maybe I'll be surprised. Hopefully, keep your fingers crossed, guys, and keep an eye out for the actual test on this thing.